in the league going back to last season. Alvin Kamara says he knows this is going to be a rushing battle, but he and Mark Ingram have already talked about the importance of setting the tempo early with their runs. On the other side, though, they're facing a defensive line that features Ndamukong Suh, who's coming off one of his best games, and then let's never count out Aaron Donald. Still, he says Gurley is a good friend of his. He's on a group chat with him and Mark Ingram and Marshawn Lattimore, and every week they tell each other good luck. This is not going to be one of those weeks, though. Now to Steve Weiss for more on those Rams.
Well, Jay, speaking of that matchup, we know the strength of the Rams defense is on their defensive interior, but when these teams met in Week 9, 22 of the Saints' 29 scheduled runs were between the tackles. Also keep in mind the Saints did not allow a sack. Those memories are fresh on the Rams defenders' minds. As Ndamukong Suh said this week, yeah, we struggled a little bit early, but we tightened some things up in the second half. That's how we have to start this game. Donald, he's more eager for redemption. He said, this is what we wanted. We wanted an opportunity to play these guys again. And as we know, this game is for a trip to the Super Bowl, but let's take a look back when the Saints handed the Rams their first loss of the season.
The NFL's final undefeated to take on the Saints, a battle for NFC supremacy.
This day is our day. This moment is our moment.
Look up the goal line. You can't tackle the man.
Speed kills in this league.
Gurley pylon.
Kamara's gonna walk in.
Top road, shoot your arrows.
Breeze from the middle. Touchdown, Saints at the goal line. Touchdown. Alvin Kamara's gonna walk in his third one of the day. The Saints with a 21-point lead.
Malcolm Brown, touchdown. Cooper Kupp the touchdown. Two-point will tie it. Goff throws. Everett diving for the line. And we're tied. Game on.
Breeze throws. Mike Thomas in stride. 72 yards. And the Saints strike a hole in the hearts of the Rams.
Certainly one of the better NFL games of the season as we're rejoined by our guest analysts today, Adrian Peterson, Brandon Marshall, and Jalen Smith. All right, so what did the Rams learn from that Week 9 loss that they can utilize today, AP?
Without a doubt, knowing where Alvin Kamara is at all times. He pretty much did what he wanted to do in that first matchup. He had 116 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. They need to make sure he feels their presence. They need to spy that guy and slow him down because you cannot allow him to have his way.
What impresses you most about him?
He's slippery. You know, even when running the ball, rushing the ball, and he runs great routes. A smart kid. I knew from day one that he was going to be there for a long time and be successful in the NFL.
Man, so there's a few themes throughout the day for me. On this one, it's simplify the sophisticated, okay? Stay with me right here.
Yeah, I'm confused by that statement, so you got to clear it up.
The Saints have scored a touchdown with 13 unique personnel packages on the field, the most in the NFL, Jalen. Saints lead the NFL with 190 offensive plays with 2 quarterbacks on the field. 2 quarterbacks on the field. So, AP, the first thing you do on Wednesday when you get to work, you get to the office is what?
You look at the personnel sheet.
You pick up one sheet. Yeah. Everyone in the building pick up one sheet, and it could be up to 60 different personnel groupings on the field. You'll see guys huddled around Coach Payton, huddled around the offensive, the receiver coach or the running backs coach, and they're listening. What's in? Is it 21 Tigers? Is it 21 Volunteers? Is it 21 this? Is it 11 that? It's so many different personnel groupings, and you have to simplify that. Where do you spend your time in preparation, right? You guys did a great job. You know, you guys did a great job of simplifying things, and you dominated the Saints. So this is what the Rams have to do if they want to win in the Dome.
Well, you said they had 60 different personnel groups.
It can be up to 60 different.
So what's normal for a regular NFL team?
Man, I mean, when you say let's go to the other end of the spectrum. So that's the other end, right? The other end could be just 11. It could be 15. That's the difference. So that's the margin that we're talking about.
So as a Rams defense, you got a lot to prepare for.
You have a lot to prepare for.
Got
a lot to prepare for.
Jalen, what about you?
60 different personnels potentially, right? But they're going to one person. Michael Thomas, first game, 12 receptions, 211 yards, and a tub, a.k.a. touchdown. Man, just a ridiculous, athletic player. He's a guy. He's all about the big plays, and he's a complete player. So the Rams have to do a good job at stopping that. And like we mentioned earlier, 0 sacks in the first game. So they'll be looking to get after it.
So you guys kind of created a blueprint, right? You created a blueprint. We came down there. We played you guys. What was the game plan? What did you guys do?
Man, get aligned. Get aligned. You know, it's all about alignment, assignment, key, technique. You know, whenever you're in a situation where you're playing against a team that does a lot of looks, you have to get aligned and get your feet in the dirt so you can think and play. So that's really what our mentality was to out-physical you guys, and we were able to get the nod that night.
You, of course, held them to a season-low 10 points this year. You can smile about that. It's okay. Pat yourself on the back.
Hot boys. Shout out to the Hot Boys.
All right, let's send it cross-country right now as we check in with our insider. Ian Rappaport has got a little coaching news.
Well, Chris, the Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to find out later today whether they have to wait 1 day or 2 weeks to name their next head coach. Let's start with the Cincinnati Bengals, who are expected to tap Zach Taylor, the Los Angeles Rams quarterbacks coach, as their next head coach. This has been something that has been coming for the last couple weeks, even though it's not entirely clear if the Bengals have actually told Taylor he is the guy, but no doubt this is a guy who commands respect inside the Rams building, and they are extremely excited about this opportunity for him. As far as the coaches he could bring, Jack Del Rio is a possibility at defensive coordinator, then Brian Callahan, a possibility at OC. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins are expected to name Brian Flores, the Patriots' defensive play caller, as their next head coach as soon as the Patriots are done, Chris. And whatever happens, if the Patriots do win, the Dolphins are going to get a second interview with.
See what we saw in that game earlier this year when Michael Thomas caught 12 for 211 because Peters was following him all around the field. You got your man Talib back. You're going to play Michael Thomas one-on-one Talib when he lines up on Talib's side, but when he lines up on Peters' side, if you can convince Peters to be okay with it, I think you roll and give him a little help over the top and allow him to be as physical as he wants because he has safety help.
Well, look, I've talked about it. I think Marcus Peters is a young, confident player, but sometimes confidence does nothing when you get yourself taken out to the woodshed. That's just how it is. And at the end of the day, I think Marcus Peters understands. You go back in the history of when he was with Kansas City, he was designated on one side. He didn't follow. The Rams found out. Let's go back to that Kansas City game plan. Let's allow him to stay on one side of the field because when he followed, he gave up 146 yards and a longer 72. Now, I believe he's a great player. But, man, in a playoff game, if you couldn't do it in the regular season, it ain't no damn way you're going to do it in the playoffs. Let's just be honest. Straight up. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. Who will have a bigger game today, Julian Edelman or Tyreek Hill?
Well, this is a hard question because I don't believe that Tyreek Hill will have the big game that you expect on yardage, but he will distract and he will attract a lot of attention. That will open up a lot of things for other players. So he will, he'll kind of have like that Jadeveon Clowney effect where he doesn't show up on the statistics, but he affects everything around him and allows other people to eat. So that's why I kind of go with Hill as far as the impact, but bigger players, they're gonna force feed Julian Edelman because they need to.
Yeah, last time they played, they took away Travis Kelce. I believe they will focus on Tyreek Hill, but focus on his big plays. He's averaged 137 yards and 2 touchdowns in the last 2 meetings against the Patriots. But even when you focus on his big plays, Tyreek Hill has that ability, man, to catch something small and make it large. Catch something short and take it long. That's what separates this cheetah from everybody else. This big guy is not afraid to catch the ball in the middle of the field. He's not afraid to get those smoke routes and take them the distance, Steve.
And I agree with you. He's performing well in the playoffs, kind of like somebody here in Mount Laurel performing pretty well all time since 1970 in the playoffs.
What does all that mean, Steve? I know it's something.
I'm just messing with you because I can't play anymore.
I see. Hey. And then they put up the stat. Oh, come on, man. Get on out of here.
It was cool. Hey, one more thing, Irv. It's been a fantastic year receiving attention. Look forward to doing it next year with you. But is that a handkerchief or a towel? Because
that's a hanky, man.
Huge.
That's how my lady puts the hanky in there, man. It just hangs in there perfectly. And does and something with the little extra style to it, man. Just like
I like it. It's just like it's big. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, for a big man. That's what it is, you know, big for a big man. Back to our humble host, Rich. Go get the thing, Rich.
Stop. You're going to see each other in Atlanta in a couple weeks. Okay. As the number one receiver for Tom Brady and one game away for his third career Super Bowl start, you'd think there would be no mystery left about Julian Edelman. But did you know he was drafted in the 7th round out of Kent State? Okay. Did you know he was drafted as a quarterback and a 3-year starter at that at quarterback with only one career catch at Kent State? Getting warmer. Okay. Did you know he once dated Jerry Rice's daughter? Aha! Yeah!